Hello.
Brandon, what's going on, man?
Oh, how you guys doing?
Good, and you?
Doing all right. What's your take?
Before I say my take, I just want to understand. Could you guys say your guys' stance just so I can say something, towards it, just so I can say my stance? I just want to understand the topic. Just one.
Yeah. So for several years, Republicans were posturing in favor of the LGBTQ community, saying that Donald Trump was better than Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden in that regard. And now it seems like they've abandoned that cause. So it's just a question of what happened to that.
Okay, and my response to that is, what do you mean that the Republican Party, such as Trump, abandoned that? What do you mean by that?
They're actively working to overturn Obergefell v. Hodges. They've put forth over 500 pieces of legislation targeting the LGBTQ community in the last 2 years. It's not exactly clear that the messaging and the movement of MAGA and conservatives in general is all that enamored by the LGBTQ community.
Sorry, did you say policies they want to overturn? Or I missed that. I missed what you said there. Sorry.
So it's Obergefell v. Hodges being something that's on the chopping block. That's the Supreme Court decision that ultimately legalized gay marriage.
Okay, but you realize that Trump or Biden are not the decision makers of that, correct?
I do, but his Supreme Court is. And this has been what's been in several discussions as of late, not only from the Supreme Court, but also on lower levels of government, amongst Congress people, amongst people who are funded by the Heritage Foundation and other fundraisers.
Okay, but where can you show me where Trump says that he wants to overturn gay marriage? Because I have a specific quote.
That's not my claim that Trump wants to do that. It's just where did this rhetoric from the right come from in terms of the gay community if they're supposed to be endorsing them?
No, I know, but you're saying what happened to Trump is better for the LGBTQ community. I'm asking,
right? As in, wouldn't Trump be speaking out against these measures if that's true?
So what do you mean by Trump then?
As in Donald Trump. Donald Trump is more than aware of the position of the right when it pertains to the gay community. And if he's so in favor of the LGBTQ community existing, then he'd be speaking up against it, but he's not. In fact, in many cases, he's outright endorsing them.
He said plenty of things endorsing the LGBT. He wants it.
Well, like what?
What do you
in
mean
this race, what has he said?
Where has he said he does not want it?
It's indicative based on the fact that he's endorsing people who are vehemently anti-LGBTQ.
I think he's talked.
So what endorses meaning? Are you saying he endorses them, or are you saying that he supports people who do it? Do you think he can just get rid of them because they don't support it?
I think it's indicative of where his stance is. He doesn't have to outright say it, but if his position is protecting the gay community, then he wouldn't be endorsing people who are outright opposed to that.
So he should.
Not only that, but Agenda 47 lays out what its plans are for the trans community explicitly.
So he should
limiting what?
So you're saying he should kick everyone out of his political party, out of anywhere, just kick them out because they agree differently.
So
that's not what I said.
Donald Trump, former president of the United States, said, "One day I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or politically motivated onto our children."
Yes, and is he wrong?
Yes.
Cut funds? Because why should LGBTQ be taught in schools versus parents teaching?
This is the point. This is the point. Oh, for the same reason that we teach about racism in school. The point that we're getting at is that Donald, you can think about it for a second. I know, yes, the same reason we teach race in school, because some parents are not qualified or knowledgeable enough to teach about them. You have a situation where Republicans used to praise Donald Trump for his progressive LGBTQ approach, and now in opposition of that, are targeting the trans community and anybody that's largely supportive of like expanding the understanding of the LGBTQ community in classes, and the list goes on. And the Republicans specifically are targeting them. They've written 500 bills targeting the LGBTQ community.
Yeah, but teaching, but the teaching racism in schools, they're not teaching people to be okay with. They're teaching it's a horrible thing versus I'm not saying LGBTQ is a horrible thing, but I'm saying
right. But your argument is
I'm saying that you can't, teachers can't just go in there and say this is completely okay. I'm not saying it's not okay. That they're saying this is completely okay. You can do what you want, and if you feel a certain way, go ahead and do it. They should not be teaching that in school.
Why not?
Because those kids
why
developed, and racism isn't taught until later in the years of education.
Racism is taught really early on. I remember learning about it in elementary school.
And what did you learn?
I learned about the civil rights movement in first grade.
Yeah, and
right.
Did they say it's a good thing?
So they were talking about how bad racism
the civil rights
is, right? The point you're missing the point. You're missing the point. The point.
I'm asking for an answer. Did they say it's a good
you're
thing?
missing.
Did they say it's
so
a good
you're
thing?
missing. They said it's. Please listen.
Wait, if this is analogous, then being
bad...
homophobic is to racism what being gay is to being black.
No, I'm saying teaching that one thing is okay.
Okay, no, bro, stop. Right. Jaden landed. I need you to listen for a second. Jaden landed really loud with that. Can you please listen?
Sure.
Did you hear that?
Jaden.
To make this analogous, homophobia is to racism as what being gay is to being black.
How? Because there's certain rights that should not be taught to my children.
What rights shouldn't be taught to your kid?
Teaching them that it's okay to. I'm not saying it's like I said. I'm not saying it's not okay to be gay, but they should not be saying.
Okay, if you're not saying it's not okay to be gay, then why can't that position be expressed?
Because kids at that age will do. They don't. They're not. Brains are not fully developed, and they think, oh, it's okay. Oh, maybe I'll try it out and just see how it is. Maybe I'll start, putting a.
What's wrong with that?
Because you're teaching them that it's okay, and they're going to be doing
which
that.
Shit, you already agreed that it is.
Agreed. What?
You've already agreed that being gay is okay, at least to some extent. That seems to be your position, right?
Do you guys agree?
Then what would be wrong if someone thought, hey, they themselves might be gay, pursue something, and then realize that's not for them?
Nothing at all, and that's what I just was trying to. That's what I'm trying to explain. Is do you guys believe someone is born gay?
Yes, as such as you were born straight.
So why teach them it's okay? If they come to somebody and say, I'm feeling a certain way, and I don't know what.
Wait, listen, we're teaching. Cool. We're not teaching. Listen.
My thing. I'm trying to finish my statement. And they come up to somebody and say, I'm feeling a certain way, and I don't know where I'm going. And if someone says, no, that's completely okay, that's a whole different topic there. That's completely okay. That's completely okay. Because
the reason that we teach.
Why teach them?
Awesome. Cool. Listen for a second. Okay. It's a two-part thing that you're missing here. One is to teach people that are unaware, that did not grow up in those households, that are not taught acceptance, that do not know that this is not behavior and conduct that you do in public places. I think it's really detrimental, in fact, to allow parents to be the sole arbiter of what their children should learn, because it sets them up for hardship later down the road. But the problem is that you want kids that are gay to feel included, and you don't want them to be ostracized. And talking about it and informing people about what it is alleviates that. You also have a problem where kids that are part of the LGBTQ community are far more likely to induce self-harm. They're far more likely to feel ostracized, abandoned, alone, and you are trying to bridge that gap. It would be like saying, well, if you want, it's like, well, why should we teach racism if we just don't do it? That we just don't do racism. Why do we need to teach it if we just don't talk about it? Then it just goes away. That wouldn't, because it didn't.
It's already happened.
What?
History has already happened.
History is still happening.
And it's. You're advocating for. Is there a substantive? I'm just really quick. Is there a substantive difference? Listen for a second, please. Please just listen. Is there a substantive difference at any capacity between teaching about racism to help inform people that are racist and help people of color learn about sort of the role, like society, and how it, how it plays into school education, the whole list of things, and how it can alleviate that? Is there any substantive difference from doing the same thing when it comes to the LGBTQ community?
I would like to explain, but yes. But can I explain on the LGBTQ side on what I mean? Because I guess I didn't elaborate 100%. on what I mean, what should be taught in schools. I just want to say that first, is what I think should be taught in schools is that gay people exist and LGBTQ people exist, and it's not a bad thing, and that should be the end of it. It should be a 5-minute conversation, and that's it.
What do you think's being taught? What do you think's being taught? It's not a 5-minute it's not a 5-minute conversation because of someone's life. If we're listening to the best educators, the best psychologists, the best doctors, the best psychiatrists, the best advice that we have from educators and boards, like academic medical boards throughout the country, what would be the problem of teaching what they view as being the most productive, the most scientifically backed data to stop homophobia?
Because kids' brains are still developing on what they want.
Right.
So what's wrong?
Curriculum takes into account their developing brains. So what is it? What exactly are you fearful of might be taught?
Right. What do you think that they're teaching? That's the question.
That it's okay to be gay to those kids at that age. It's saying
double speak.
No, it's saying it's okay for the kids that age. My age, it doesn't matter because my brain is basically fully developed at this point.
Okay, this is double speak. You're both saying that it's okay to be gay, but also we shouldn't tell kids it's okay to be gay.
I'm not going to respond if you want to keep talking.
Well, I want you to respond to that double speak.
What double?
Great. This is
again, I'll finish.
You're saying that it is both okay to be gay, but we shouldn't teach kids it's okay to be gay.
I'm talking about extensively teaching them about it, because when kids find something new that's interesting to them, they'll try it out, and at that brain of their age, they can take things the wrong way and figure out, oh, so my friend he's gay. I never heard about this from anybody else. So I might just want.
That's the thing. They wouldn't be hearing about it from anyone else. They would be deducing that based on the curriculum that they get from school. It wouldn't be just a hearsay kind of thing where you can jump to your own conclusions.
Okay. I mean, yeah. Okay. I mean, we have different opinions on this, obviously. So
you don't have an argument.
But yeah, what's your argument? Because you're like, what's wrong? Like, I don't understand what your argument is. Kids may engage in, it's not a good one. Kids may engage in something. What are you talking about? Like, they may think that they're gay. Why is that a bad thing?
No, I'm sorry, my argument's not a good one. I'm making my opinion. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just making my opinion.
But what do we have? I'm really confused at what the negative is here. Like, what is the negative of what is the negative of some kid potentially thinking that they may be gay? Like, what's the negative of them exploring that?
Thinking is one thing, but once they hear it from somebody else and then they think about it, that's a whole different story.
What story does that paint?
What?
Like, the whole purpose is to destigmatize the gay community. So if someone were to assume that someone else was gay, what issue would that create if there's no stigma attached to it?
It could create an issue. I'm not saying it could or could not. It could. But why not just teach kids in a quick little lecture at the beginning of a school year of the certain age that they should be hearing about this? Can I not finish?
I opened up a page and it started playing back. Nobody said anything.
So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My bad. But what I'm getting at is why should kids be taught this if they already know it in their body and mind? What is that doing?
Okay, I'll ask you the same question. Why should kids? Yeah. So what? Couldn't this? Would it be genuine for me to say this of anything else, that we should give some quick overview of racism because of some potentially adverse effect? We should just give a quick overview of racism. They don't need to know all of this information, but there's a lot more to racism, race relations in the United States than just like saying racism's bad, right? That's what you're saying, though. You just say, oh, being gay is fine, and then move on with your day. But that doesn't address the larger issues at play with homophobia, with the way that it's the perception in society. There's a whole host of things that doesn't address. And this really is like the crux of the Republican argument is like, we don't have any policies target the LGBTQ community for reasons we can't specify.
And I think it also feeds into a little bit more of this doublespeak that I speak of when we say that kids are still malleable and impressionable and don't understand as much, but also we should rush a lecture on a key part of their identities. I don't see how you can weigh that we can have a measured and fair and balanced conversation, but also it has to be condensed into 5 minutes.
Sure. No, I hear you guys. Another question for you guys. Do you think talking about joining the military and how it can be a very good option should be taught in 3rd grade?
In 3rd grade?
Yeah.
How I think it should be, largely no, because it doesn't have societal benefit. What's the societal benefit?
Known or taught. Should it be a curriculum?
Should it be a curriculum? I would say no, unless you can provide some substantial benefit that we get as a society from it. I generally don't believe in recruiting from schools because it targets people and kids that have nothing. It's
no, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
So being in the military is not an identity.
How? So you think everyone in the military is poor?
No,
most of them are.
So what do you mean? So yeah, there are a lot that are.
Schools target people. Cool. Military targets schools, and the kids that end up signing up largely don't have any plans after high school because they don't have the family structure.
And that's
so
up
they
to them,
end up
right?
getting people that are to an 17, 18-year-old kid.
That's my point right there.
What's your point?
What?
It should not be taught until you're older. It should not be taught when you're in 3rd grade.
What
your sexuality is not contingent on the age that you are and your ability to understand it. But military personnel and what goes into that would require some level of adulthood to be able to grasp what goes into that.
Okay.
Oh shit.
That's the clear difference.
Right.
My point.
I'll put it this way: you can understand sexuality at any age, but to condense what goes into the military into 3rd grade curriculum, I think undermines and downplays just how much they need to know.
What kid?
I don't think there's a way that you can teach it appropriately.
What kid before the age of 6th grade has said that I'm gay, or even 7th grade or 8th grade? So or maybe not that far, but 7th grade.
Plenty.
Yeah, plenty. I don't know. Bish isn't here, but Bish was one.
Yeah, and if the community is so hard on them, why are they coming out? But they need more LGBT curriculums out there. If they're already coming out at that age, why do we need to teach it to them? If they want to be that, they can be that.
It's not just them. Listen. It's not just those kids you're teaching it to, but yes, showing could you imagine if like you walked into school and you were learning all of this stuff and everything that you were learning was denying your identity, like the psychological issues that it could create going forward, where you're like, oh, what the fuck? This doesn't make any sense to me. You would have a problem with that. And that's the problem, is that you're setting up a situation where there is violence, there is bullying, and a whole list of things for kids based on their sexual orientation. You want people around them and in that school to not only accept them, but understand, and you want those kids to feel accepted. And to do that, you need to educate in the same way that we did with racism. When we did integration, kids would learn about racism, learn about race, learn about on both sides. It wasn't just that one thing. It was to mend a gap that's there. And you're saying that we should just allow this not to be talked about for someone. No.
That's not what I said at all. I'm talking about there should not be a curriculum for it, but it should be said that there are these people are, because there's no point. If you can tell these kids, even if it was once every semester or once every quarter or whatever it is, that these people exist, these people matter. That's it. Even for a whole day class. There's no point of exaggerating, saying, these people have this, these people have that.
Okay.
There's no point.
Can you tell me what non-binary is?
They don't identify as anything at all, which makes no sense to me in my mind. But I don't care.
So
that's not exactly what it is.
Right. So you just proven my point of why it needs to be taught, because it doesn't make any sense to you.
Then what is non-binary if they don't identify as one thing?
Well, you're saying it doesn't make any sense to you. This is the entire point of education in that regard.
Okay, you missed the last part. I said it doesn't make any sense to me, but I support them and I don't care. I don't care what they do.
Right, but you're saying that it shouldn't be taught in school is your argument.
So you think do you know how long a million genders would take to be taught in school?
You're not teaching a million genders.
Then
do you teach a million different positions? Hold on. Do you teach a million different positions that your gas tank can be in? No, you don't. It's a spectrum. That's pretty simple.
No, a gas tank's not a spectrum. What are you talking about? What kind of inference was that?
Yes, and you believe I guarantee you right now that you believe in spectrum when it comes to like masculinity and sexuality. I guarantee you believe in a spectrum. Okay. Do you believe you're the most masculine person on the planet?
people identify the same as me and they're more masculine than I am. That's masculinity.
I'm just saying. I know. I'm just saying.
Right?
I'm just saying. Like, you are not as masculine as, like, I don't know, John Cena, right?
Sure. I don't know what you're getting at, but
okay.
Sure.
Awesome. What I'm getting at is that on that scale of masculinity, right? You and John Cena are not in the same place, but you would both identify as being a man, right? And being masculine. That's a spectrum.
So I'll actually simplify this using language that we can.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me that someone is stronger than me and that we're both male and we identify as nothing else because someone is stronger than me? That's a spectrum of what you identify as?
No, you guys believe. No. What I'm saying is that the spectrum is that there is a wide range of masculine versus, like, in masculinity, there's a wide range. Some men are more masculine than other men, right?
Still men, though,
they may identify.
They're still men, though, right?
Right. It's the same thing with non-binary. You still identify as non-binary. You still hold on. Listen. You still identify as non-binary.
What?
I am trying to explain it to you because you're not getting it and you're being resistant.
Okay.
Awesome. You identify as a man in the same way that people that are non-binary identify as non-binary. And there is a spectrum that you prescribe to of masculine versus not masculine. There are people that identify as men that are not particularly masculine. There are people that identify as men that are very masculine, and everywhere in between. It would be a weird thing to compare yourself to another man and be like, we're both on this spot. No, you're not. There's a spectrum there of masculinity in the same way that there's a spectrum when it comes to gender.
Acting, but saying saying what you are two completely different things, and strength has nothing to do with masculinity also.
That's not the comparison that's being made
here.
I'll put it into more simplistic terms that hopefully a 6-year-old actually might understand if I was talking to one. Just 1 second, man.
No,
Brandon,
Tommy, why'd you compare John Cena's size to my size if it has nothing to do with it?
I'm saying
because your presentation
John Cena
of masculinity are on a spectrum.
He's a particularly masculine dude. I would say that he is definitely more so here's the thing. I think he's more masculine than you. He's certainly more masculine than me.
Oh, yeah,
but he definitely has a side. He definitely has a side that is not that macho masculine man. If you listen to him speak and you see him, he's a very, very kind-hearted person, right?
Sure, yeah.
And so he's not bombastically masculine to the point where he's toxic. You see what I'm saying? And if you could compare that to like Andrew Tate, which I don't think is very masculine. I just think he's just
no, not at all.
But he purports to be an alpha, right? Like, that's the whole point that I'm making, is that there's a spectrum when it comes to masculinity and femininity, and there's a spectrum when it comes to gender.
But if Andrew did or didn't say that, I don't know. I haven't heard that. He might have. I don't know. I just haven't looked at it. He's wrong. There is no spectrum. It's just because you feel one way. I can't feel
I wasn't saying Andrew said that.
And my muscles are huge. I can't do that. If I am a certain way, that is one thing. But because I'm a certain way and I get whatever done to my body, that doesn't make me something.
What? I'm simply saying that there's a spectrum, right? Some people identify. I just showed you that there was a spectrum of masculinity.
I just want to make my point real quickly. This is what I was going to say earlier, was that, when it relates to gender and gender identity, it's not about teaching 1,000 or 1,000,000 genders any more so than it would be teaching 1,000 or many different colors when it comes to the rainbow. We know that there's not 7 colors or solely 7 colors in the Roy G. Biv, but really a combination of colors that can be existent, or the in-betweens that we can find with an emergence of colors. That's what we're looking at. Chartreuse isn't going to show up on the rainbow, but we know what color combinations can be used to create that or define that and where that veers off from the spectrum. That's what we're looking at.
But if a person disagrees that there's that many, you say there's this many colors on the rainbow, and they say there's this many colors on the rainbow, and it's complete opposite of you, what would you say to that?
Would you say I would say that there's no possible way we can quantify as many genders as there are colors.
So you'd be okay with that then?
I'm perfectly okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand what your argument is, because this is a pretty
concise
thing. You're saying that there's
well, how many colors are there?
Yeah,
give or take.
There's tons of different variations.
How many? But how many? Like in total?
Why would I know how many exact number of colors there are?
Exactly.
I don't know how many damn genders there are either. There's a
Okay.
million.
Okay, that's my point.
Yeah, you're getting it.
Actually, how many colors?
But we can teach that there's a spectrum that exists beyond our ability to quantify. That much we can do. We don't need to go into every single bit that's possible, because it's going to be a continuance that goes on long before we're existent. All we can do is say, this is how it works, this is how we can identify it, and this is how we can discover more.
Jaden, how many?
Right, and I just want to point out this level of questioning does not exist
that any more than you can.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, just like you can't quantify the amount of
colors. Don't just decide what they are. It's an actual thing that you can see.
But we decide what colors are.
No. What do you mean we decide what colors are?
We decide what colors are.
Because we made a name for what it's called?
Yes, we've socially identified certain colors to be what they are, and how we create them, and how we find them, and what colors can be created from that. What combinations we can find from that. Colors are social categories just as much as genders are.
Jaden, can gray become pink?
Yes.
How?
Within a combination, yes, it can.
How?
Mix gray with red, red with white, become pink.
So it's pink, but what was it originally, and why is it pink now?
Originally, it was because we have combinations that exist outside of the mere binary.
Okay, but it's okay. This is a horrible argument. My bad.
It's your argument. I just explained how gray can become pink. Mix gray with white, mix that with red.
No, I completely agree. My argument was horrible on that. My bad. But so just asking you guys about the whole, since we're on the gender topic now, do you guys think that someone who's transgender goes from a male, transitions to a female, still has the male chromosomes? Are they female now, or do they just quote unquote
they present socially as female, but that doesn't change their biology? Yes, even trans people recognize that they're either still male or female.
Okay, and should I be forced
or intersex?
Should I be forced to call that person by what they want now?
It's no more force anymore than it's not a force that I'm calling you Brandon right now. It's a simple matter of decorum that I'm affording you.
No, I mean,
you're not forcing me to call you Brandon, but I'm doing so
you can call me what you want. I genuinely don't care, because I know what I know.
But I'm giving you a level of decency that you deserve, just as much as trans people would deserve that same level of civility.
Change that. So changing it doesn't mean that I should be forced to.
Right. Are you married?
No, not currently. No.
You're not?
No.
If your wife changed her last name, should I continue to call her by her maiden name?
If she wanted to, I wouldn't care.
But she doesn't want me to.
I wouldn't care either.
But she would, right?
Sure, I'd call her whatever she wants. I'd call her.
No, I'm saying if I referred to your wife by her maiden name, despite the fact that she asserted that she is Mrs. Brandon.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see that as a slight on your wife?
I genuinely don't care, because it doesn't affect me or her.
Doesn't affect? Yeah, physically it doesn't affect her. But some level of decorum ought to be afforded for her. And I think if we're just living in a society where we can disrespect people, then what kind of disrespect is that going to invite?
Well, disrespect because you're calling someone what they actually
I'm calling her outside of her name.
But
at that point, why does she owe me the time of day?
She doesn't. And I guarantee my future wife would not care at all.
How do you know? Because
if you did do that, and you were intentionally doing that, she would not care. I guarantee it.
How can you guarantee that?
Because I have a certain type that I go after, and I don't expect anything from them, but I guarantee that.
So your type is women who don't ask for respect.
No, the women that don't care what people think about them and what say about them.
Okay, I think you know what I'm saying, and I think you recognize the analogy here.
Honestly,
it's just a decent level of respect that I'm affording your wife.
Right. This is like the bare minimum.
If she corrected me, then I would correct myself.
I find this interesting because this is always what the argument boils down to. Not that you're the problem for not showing respect to people, but that you could potentially be the problem for fucking up. Which I don't know any people that are non-binary or trans that are gonna, like, for the most of the time, throw a fit, but for some reason, like, you are super concerned about being seen in a wrong light, so much so that instead of just being, you're so concerned about getting it wrong that you won't even attempt to do it right. And I don't get that.
No. Okay, let me explain this part actually. So in high school, I went to I went to school with a kid named Sam, and I don't know. I called him she because he didn't care. He was one of my good friends. I call him both just because it's got in my head now. But so she was born.
Are they trans? Just can we get that out of the way?
Yeah. So what? Female to male. So yeah.
So
he.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Sure. She didn't care. Like no. You're not letting me get to my point. She didn't care I called her she because she understood that she is a woman, and I said
he.
Hey, do what you want. I'm talking about someone.
You were saying he earlier though.
Yes, because I was trying to explain to you guys what I was talking about.
You just stick with he.
Right, but what's wrong with he?
Because she said call me she because I don't care. I like this is perfect because you're friend. I'm friends with you. That's what I'm getting at. She didn't care. I still treated her the same, and we're still friends to this day.
Why are you changing it up now?
What do you mean? How am I changing it up?
You started off saying he, Sam, he, my friend,
yes.
he, him.
Like I just
now
said,
it's all she.
I was trying to explain to you what she or he was.
It's he.
It's simple to us.
So you're telling me
you just said it's F to M.
So you're telling me she's wrong and I'm wrong.
He. You're in the wrong by continuously misgendering your so-called friend. Personally, I don't believe Sam exists, but yeah, you're still in the wrong.
You can think what you want. You can think what you want, but she told me to say she.
He.
Okay.
Is Sam a guy or not?
What?
Is Sam a guy or not?
She claims to be, but she told me to say she to him or her or whatever you want to call her.
It's like pretzels, you know. I think he would be fine.
Next time you guys have a live, I'll bring her up and she can explain this to you.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Listen,
I promise I can do that.
Right. So this is what's called an exception fallacy, and also you're kind of tokenizing your friend because you're trying to use your friend to undermine the fact that some people, most people that are trans, well, because your friend told you one thing does not extend to everyone.
So I can't call her she because she said I can call her. She said
that's between you and your friend. But the fact is, I would think a good friend would be like, "Hey, do you want me to call you he?" I think that would be a good friend thing to do to make your friend feel accepted.
I did, but she said
you're using them interchangeably.
No. I said, "Do you want me to call you he or she?" Now this is like during her transition, and she said to me, "No, we were friends before this when I was a girl. Call me she." And that's what I've called her since because she told me that, and she does not care because she told me that. So why am I in the wrong now?
Then why would he transition?
I don't. How would I know? I'm not trans. I'm not. Like I said, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
get your friend on here next time.
I mean, like, just be real about it, man. Like, you can be like, "Oh, it's easier for me," but that's not the.
I'm being real right now. But why am I being told that I'm wrong for saying a pronoun that she wants?
Okay, that's fine. That's between you and your friend, and you can. That's not what I'm. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you using your friend to general.
He.
Because your friend transitioned.
Yeah, she's transgender.
Well, he because she transitioned.
You just corrected me again. You just corrected me again.
You said he's F to M.
So I'm wrong. She's wrong, and
no,
you're
probably wrong. I think she's contended with the fact that you're demonstrably ignorant to this and has accepted that you're going to call him she regardless.
I literally just said, I said, do you want me to, what do you want to be called now? Because I didn't know, genuinely, because I'm not
right, but you started off calling him he.
Said, yeah, because I was trying to explain to you guys what she was. I was not explaining to you guys, oh, he, she, sorry, he, she. That's not what I was trying to do.
Can I talk for a second? The problem is that you're using your friend to try and generalize and make these very vast generalizations about what you can say and how you can treat the trans community. And
he's part of the trans community, so
right, but that doesn't matter.
How? Oh, so she doesn't matter.
No, that's not what I said. That's like a weird. Why is he grandstanding?
I'm not.
So
That's all he has.
if Jaden told me something that does not stand true for the community, if Jaden told me to say the N-word, right? That wouldn't stand true for the entire, like the entire black community would not think that's okay.
Okay, so because you're saying one person doesn't want that, even though they're part of the community, I should call them one thing because you care about what other people think about you?
Well, I'm curious as to your dynamic, but I think that out of respect that you should call them he, yes.
Okay, so I mean, I'll be disrespectful to her.
Him.
No, see, the problem is I think you're making a really bold claim on here, and I'm not saying it's incorrect, but the only reason I can think of that a trans person would actually do this is they have already lost so many people in their life that they would rather let you tear them down and misgender them than they would to lose you as a friend. And that's entirely problematic.
I mean,
also, you're making a claim that you cannot back up, so I would love to have him come up on the live and validate everything you're saying.
Yeah, like I just said, next time I will bring her up. And by the way, our friend group, we have she has over 20 friends in our friend group, so it's not just a.
Well, good for him.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not that hard, man.
So yeah.
I mean, like I said, I have 3 friends that transitioned. Yes, listen. I have 3 friends that transitioned before they were 21. Like I said, it took an adjustment period, but I don't refer to any of them as their previous gender.
Okay, but also I'm not referring to them because I want to refer to them as that. She asked me, call me she.
What is this? How does this extend to the entirety of the trans community? I don't understand why you keep trying to generalize that.
So because one person tells me one thing, I just gotta say no. F you. No, you're wrong. I'm gonna call you this.
What you say with your friend is between you and them. I would think that out of respect you should do that, but what your friend says does not extend to the entire trans community because the trans community is not a monolith.
Okay.
Also, you've changed up the argument now. First you said that you asked your friend what they wanted to be called, and now you're saying they asked you, or they told you they wanted to be called this. That's not the same.
No, I'm talking about random people being me being called some bigot because I don't call them a certain thing.
Well, if you're willing to get down to their level and ask them what they want to be called when it comes to Sam, why can't you afford that same decency towards other people?
I never said that, but I shouldn't be expected to know because someone's trans.
No one's expecting you to know that, but you feel as though we're somehow forcing you to acknowledge their identity by saying their stated identity is who they are.
I mean there is, because if someone misgenders, or whatever you want to call it, misgenders somebody, people are going to come running over and cussing people out because of something, and they can't be.
But have I forced you to call Sam he here?
You don't even know my friend.
But have I forced you? Excuse me. Have I forced you to call him he?
What do you even? Why are you calling him he? You don't even know him.
Okay, she. Have I forced you to call her he?
No, you have not.
What level of force is being applied?
Because you're saying he.
Am I forcing you to do anything differently, though?
You're rebuttaling my comment on saying she.
But am I forcing?
I say she, you say he.
Am I forcing you, though?
Do you know what forcing is?
Do you? Because you're accusing me of doing that.
I'm going to be... Okay, I'm going to be 100% with you right now because I see this a lot, but this is essentially what you're doing. You're leveraging your friend to try and absolve you from just not respecting people that are trans and non-binary. That's your whole point. You're just leveraging what they have told you so that you can continue treating the trans community the exact same that you always have. And you're not seeing that.
Who said I did?
Well, you're refusing to respect pronouns.
I never said I disrespect them.
You said that you felt forced to do so.
You are ignoring. Listen. You are leveraging what your friend has told you so that you can ignore what the larger community is asking you to do. You are using it as a scapegoat for your behavior, and you are using your friend to do it. I would not do that to my friend, period.
Neither would I. Tommy, when did I say... When did I say I do that? I was
He's
asking
not even
why
listening to what I'm saying, man. You're not even listening to what I'm saying.
Tommy, when did I say...
Why are you yelling?
I'm not yelling. I'm trying to talk. When did I say that I don't respect people's pronouns? I'm asking, why should I be forced?
That was the whole question. No one's saying you've been forced. That was the whole question. We're asking you to be respectful, right? We're asking you to be respectful in the same way that you wouldn't use a slur against the black community, in the same way that you wouldn't use racist language towards them or dog whistles. We're asking for that same respect. Well, I'm not, but that community is. That's it. Okay. That's it.
I know. I hear you, but should I go around to every race of person and ask them? Because I know people don't like the word blacks, and some people like the word black Americans. Should I go up and ask what
so
they
you
like
should
to be
go around and say black people, because
but people don't like some black Americans don't.
Okay,
like
in what context would you have to ask as the black person on the panel, and when would you have to bring this up?
It happens all the on different lives. I've heard different.
Just name me an instance.
If you were to come in,
one second, I want him to answer this.
Yeah.
Can you name me an instance in which this would be pertinent to the conversation?
Do you want an art, or do you want just a experience I've experienced hearing different people?
Whatever one works.
Did he say RCW?
He said RCW. Yes.
Why would you? What would you pull from criminal code?
It was a joke.
That's not funny. But yeah, can you give me a real life scenario in which this would be applied to?
Like I just said, on different lives, people have said the exact same thing. Like I've said,
give me an instance, please. Run down the scenario here.
Do you want my answer, or do you want to keep interrupting? Because
I want your answer quicker. What's the scenario in which you felt compelled to ask someone whether or not you could say black?
Okay, so there was this one time that I went out to this black American on the TikTok lives, and
slow the f down.
You just said you want it faster.
Is this
no. Bro, oh my God.
Do you want an answer, or do you want to keep interrupting me?
Answer the question.
You're talking mighty quick for midnight, bruh.
I mean, I was just responding because you wanted it quicker. So
I don't know that it's just you.
Anyways.
Okay, I'm not going to respond now because you guys keep interrupting.
Bro, I'm trying to have a good faith conversation, and so far I think I've done that. I'm just asking you, in which scenario would you have to distinguish whether or not someone wanted to be called black?
Yeah, like
you said it happened recently. Go ahead.
Like I just said for the fourth time on TikTok, different TikTok lives, I have gone on them and because we're talking about black topics, and I've said blacks, I've said African Americans, and I've said Africans. And each person, not every time.
Bro,
can I not finish? Are you going to keep interrupting?
Go ahead. Each person.
I'm not going to keep going ahead because you've interrupted me every time I said
bro, you're muted. I don't understand. Nobody has interrupted it. Please leave. Nobody has. Bye. Go.
Okay.
Nobody has interrupted him. He just continues to talk. Like the moment you try and get a fucking thing, and he just fucking talks. He's done the whole fucking time. You try to like direct him to traffic, and he'd be like, this is not a difficult concept. Go ahead.
They almost got a chuckle out of me though, because instead of getting to the point faster by not segueing into multiple things, they decided to ramble at the speed of I don't know what, and think that was getting to an answer faster. That almost made me laugh.
Listen, I do know something. People, generally speaking, don't talk that quick at midnight sober.
I will agree with that one also.
So I felt some teeth grinding going on
Don't
there.
generally come out of a major surgery and then sit here on TikTok anyway.
Is it snowing already?
Right. This isn't a difficult concept. Like, there are things, and we've talked about this before, where you are not going to know that they're offensive. You are not going to know why. You are not going to know. And that's part and parcel of you being raised in me specifically being raised in a white community where I'm not exposed to that. So I don't know, right? And I've learned a lot on this app. I've learned a lot in growing up and things. And yeah, right. The same thing goes. If you make a mistake and someone corrects you, it's not a slight against you. It's only a slight against you if you refuse to acknowledge what, like, the issue, right? That's the problem, is how receptive you are. If you go up and you misgender someone, you're like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I didn't know, right? That's fine. That's you're at least attempting, but the problem is when you go like, okay, well, can you not? And you continue to double down, triple down, quadruple down on it. When you continue and refuse, this is the exact reason that this issue needs to be taught in school, because look at how resistant you are to learning about it. And that is part and parcel of the system that you grew up in, and finding anything that is different wrong or different from what the traditional norm is.